false positives.
I have a question for you. So we have a lot of very angry media all around this room, and they want one of these seats. But because of social distancing, we are keeping them empty, and they are keeping them empty. Will there ever be a time when all of those really angry people who don't like me much to start off with, but now they really don't like me, will there ever be a time when these seats are full, like full to the brim like it used to be, where people are almost sitting on each other's lap, and this whole row over here is packed, and now they're outside wanting to get in, and they're very jealous of all of these reporters. Will we ever have that again, or is that something that will be, you know, it'll look like this forever?
So we're learning a lot about social distancing and respiratory diseases, and I think those are the discussions we have to have in the future, is what you were talking about.
Mr. President.
Book deals. It's so strange how he went from being one guy and suddenly he didn't want to have anything to do with it. And then this happens. April 19th, 2021. But we'll get into that. Dear President Trump, it was my honor to serve as U.S. Attorney for the Eastern District of Pennsylvania in your administration. You asked me to prioritize public safety, and that is exactly what I did while Kerry Krasner, radical leftist Philadelphia District Attorney, was letting violent criminals go and refusing to prosecute rioters and looters and arsonists. In the spring of 2020, I prosecuted and won. It was a partisan disgrace. The governor, the secretary of the Commonwealth, and the partisan state Supreme Court made up their own rules and did not follow the law. Even worse, State Attorney General Josh Shapiro, the very person responsible for the enforcement, declared days before. That's a strange sentence, isn't it? The governor, the secretary of Commonwealth, and the partisan state. Even worse, the state attorney general. It would be hard to imagine a more irresponsible statement by a law enforcement officer. Even when you disagree with me. Barr. He goes on, Mr. President. Now, do you think there's a huge, demand for books from these people? Administration are having a tough time selling memoirs about the time and power. Others with ties to Trump who didn't embrace his election conspiracy theories. Have sold books, or have sold book deals. A huge difference. There's a huge difference between being able to sell books and being able to sell book deals. This will be Barr's first book. I'm sure he'll write it too. And he started writing it within the last 2 months. I was such appeasing my boss. Me too.
Joining me now, CNN political analyst Maggie Haberman. She's a Washington correspondent for the New York Times. Trump was going to confront him about the allegations, and he wanted to be able to say that he had looked into them and that they were unfounded. He says at another point, we realized from the beginning it was all BS, Maggie. But it seems a little bit different from what we...
It is absolutely legitimate to raise questions about what he was saying publicly before that. But I still think that having him...
Huge part of this. What Bill Barr was claiming before. Oh, he got a nice book deal.
On the record in this interview is significant.
It debunks claims from Trump allies, including Mike Lindell, the chief executive of MyPillow, and Rudolph Giuliani.
All right, can anybody handle this? Everything is politics. I miss having friends who are of different political beliefs than me.
We haven't seen that since...
well, we haven't had the kind of widespread use of mail-in ballots as being proposed.
You've said you were worried that a foreign...
Fucking listen to that. I knew there was a reason I put this video here. I'm not putting that as succinct as I'd like to, but you know what I'm saying? You know the thing.
What are you basing that on?
I'm basing that, as I've said repeatedly, I'm basing that on logic.
Pardon?
Logic. I'm basing that on logic.
Pardon?
Logic. I'm basing that on logic.
Pardon?
The issue with that at the time was this is being based on logic, which didn't seem to mean a whole heck of a lot, and not based on.
But again, there are legitimate reasons to go back and
not buying it.
Look at what Barr said and look at whether there is any kind of responsibility that he had in terms of pushing this idea that voters couldn't trust.
You know what? I think she I think she's onto something, and she knows it, but she doesn't know it. She's just not connecting the dots. You know what she's not seeing? This.
Law. And the rule of law is, at essence, that we have one rule for everybody. If you apply one rule to A, the same rule applies to B. Punishing the president's enemies and helping his friends. What enemies have I indicted? That's a difficult decision to make, especially when you know you're going to be castigated for it.
You won't go by Department of Justice policy that you won't interfere in any political investigations before the November election.
Why is she so concerned about that, huh? Is it the same reason that they were so concerned about Hunter's laptop? I think you guys get it, right? Yeah, I think we're done.